And hello and welcome to round number 17 of the Nemesis Online Racing League Championship here from a very overcast Suzuka circuit, and it's great to be with you on this Monday morning for what is going to be a very crucial and important Japanese Grand Prix. Of course, our championship leader, as most of the drivers in this league would know, that Ed is unfortunately missing out on this race, as well as Chaza as well, actually. Of course, first and fourth place in the championship respectively, those two drivers. But now we'll have to forget about those two for the moment, as we're underway here in our one-shot qualifying session here at Suzuka. And it's going to be quite an important one-shot qualifying, as it is quite difficult to overtake at this figure-8 circuit. And we're going to see names like Addy and Chiller Killer and Maverick, and of course our championship leader Bolt, going to all be up there in this one-shot qualifying session. And it must be said, the S's section is quite a difficult part of the track, and it's so easy to make a mistake as to head through the Degton South. It comes our not our championship leader, our second place driver in the championship. He's 4 points behind our championship leader Ed. But tonight, well, with a minimum of 4 points, he will be once again the championship leader. Bolt just needs a clean race out and a clean qualifying with no mistakes, with no corner cuts, would certainly take a step in the right direction. But at the moment, it's Chiller Killer who's going to be on pole position, and he looks like he's having quite a very good lap indeed. He's now heading down the back straight towards 130 hour. Through 130 hour they go through now. Chiller Killer is in a very good position here, as the McLaren of Danny Binlaha has moved up in the third place here. It could be a very interesting grid order, as we've seen Addy all the way down in 10th place. That could be quite massive. But Chiller Killer now through the final corner. He's going to take pole position by about 0.8 of a second over Bolt. Third is Danny Binlaha. Fourth is King No Skill. Fifth, Ragnar. Val was in sixth, and that is quite an interesting qualifying session indeed. And there we go, we have Chiller Killer on pole position by 7.5 tenths ahead of our second placed championship driver in Bolt. Then we have Danny Binlaha in third place, in his best qualifying of the season. Very good to see Danny Binlaha all the way up there in third place. Then we have King No Skill in fourth, Ragno in fifth, Val in sixth, Murcielago in seventh, Skull in eighth, Schecterfire in ninth, Addy in 10th, who's set no time. Of course, he's only 10 points off the championship lead here, I believe, so that's quite a disappointment for Addy. Then we have Maverick, and then I can't read the rest. Testameister, Doug Yaffram then, and I believe then Testameister, rounding out the rest of the grid order. But now we're going to be in for a very sunny afternoon here in Suzuka. Of course, the race does take place at about midday local time. So drivers are just loading in now. Shouldn't take too long, as Ed is very happy about Chiller Killer getting a pole position. And of course, Ed going to need absolutely everything, every little advantage he can get here after he's sadly missed this race tonight, after finally taking the lead of the championship for the first time. It might be for the first time this season, or he might have had it earlier on the season, but surely Ed's going to be a very lucky boy if he's to walk away with the championship lead again tonight, as we're now underway for the formation lap of what is going to be a very intriguing and very difficult 27 lap race around Suzuka. Of course, a classic F1 track, and the first sector really is a testing part of the track. It's so easy, just if you play it the littlest amount too much of throttle. If you just touch the inside or the outside of the curbs, you can go spinning around, and it is so easy to make mistakes, and it really is going to be the driver who is the more consistent here who's going to come out on top. And the most consistent driver so far this season ultimately has been Bolt. He's been super consistent, especially in the first half of the season. It's been a little bit more questionable the second half of the season, as I'm sure that he would admit, but it really is in Bolt's hands here this race, and he's in second place. He's in a very good enough position. But I think one of the main talking points is a disappointing qualifying by Addy, and he's going to start on the soft compounded tyre. So he's going to start on the medium compound tyre, not the soft. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Perhaps going for a one-stop strategy to then go on to the hard compounded tyres a little bit later on, as his teammate Scheckterfeld already touching the inside curve of Spoon, which he did not want to be doing, because that is certainly one of the more deadly curbs around this circuit. As we're now going to get everything all prepared now as we head towards the final chicane. It doesn't look like weather will be playing an issue here, which is good. I think a dry Suzuka is a better Suzuka in terms of league racing. But now we'll head back up towards the front as Chilliker is now lining up on the grid. Where's Ayrton Spencer, who's all the way down to 14? Disappointing qualifying for him. Ayrton Spencer been performing a bit better as of late, and I'm sure he'll be disappointed with that, but he'll be looking to avenge himself in this race. He's now lined up onto the back of the grid, and here we go. We're nearly ready here for lights out. Here we have 2 lights, we have 3 lights, we have 4 lights, we have 5 lights. And lights out and away we go, and it looks like the racing point there has barely got to get off the start at all. But Chilliker, with a pretty solid start, is going to be able to cover off Bolt into turn 1 at least. As it looks like there's going to be some movement behind as Val's found himself up into P4, and Addy all the way up into P3 as Ayrton Spencer is somehow up into P6. What a storming start the Renault driver has had there. He's made his way up 6 positions. The King No Skills really not gotten off the line whatsoever, as now they come through Dunlop Curve. Oh, this yellow flag's ahead. What on earth has happened? It looks like a car. Danny Bin Lahar's had an incident, which we've just missed on screen, and now we have 2 Italians in 3rd and 4th. What a chaotic start to this race we've had, as Murcielago's found himself up into P5. But he's soon going to come under pressure from Addy in the Haas. Then followed by Ayrton Spencer up into 7th place already. What a fantastic start he's had. But we'll try to find out what exactly has happened to Danny Bin Lahar, as Val and Ragnar are now trading positions, I believe. No, they're not. It's just a false timing glitch there, unfortunately. Getting me a little bit excited over nothing, ultimately. As they head through 130R for the first time. Ragnar just perhaps a little bit too far away from Val to make a move, but Val makes a little bit of a mistake there through the final chicane. And now with a very good run out of the final corner, Ragnar's all over the back of Val as they head down into turn 1, side by side. Who's going to come out on top? It's going to be the Ferrari, who comes out second best in that one there, as now Murcielago's actually closed up quite significantly on this battle here. Oh, and Ragnar just touching that curb there. He's kind of getting all out of shape as they head through the S's now. And of course, with so much fuel on board, it's going to be so hard to go through these S's, as Addy somehow gone around the outside there. Fantastic move by our Haas driver, and a crucial move if he really wants to limit his losses here to Bolt in this championship battle. As Val makes a little bit of a mistake there on the exit of the second Degner. Down towards the hairpin, the Ragnar's trying to make a move in the Ferrari around the outside, but Val is going to defend it for the time being. But Ragnar is still within striking distance, that's for sure. As he now is going to go side by side. He's going to have to go the long way around into Spoon Curve, but he gets ahead of Val into Spoon. And that's a very nice move there by Ragno. But now Addy is also there to pounce, touching the inside curve and somehow getting away with it. I'm not entirely sure how he's done that, because any time I touch the inside curve in any sort of practice I've done, I'd absolutely go spinning around. But now Addy doesn't look like he's gaining too much here on Val, but through 130R, you can gain quite a lot. Val going defensive, as to be expected. And oh my, that was some dive bomb there by Ayrton Spencer, I believe, on Murcielago. And now he's got himself up into 6th place as well. Brilliant move there by Ayrton Spencer. But DRS now will be enabled at the end of this lap. As this battle for 3rd is really heating up. I've got, well, nearly a 6-car scrap for P3 here. Going all the way from Ragnar all the way down to King No Skill in 8th place. Of course, had an absolute stinking start. And he's really cost himself here in this race, really, with that poor start. But of course, it can be a weird timing glitch where the lights don't exactly sync up, but it remains to be seen whether or not that was the case. It's now Addy becoming a little bit frustrated here behind Val. He really needs to be starting to get a move on, because as we've just seen, actually, Bolt and Chilicula are absolutely running away in this race. They're already 5 seconds ahead of Ragnar here in 3rd place, so it's very, very imperative that Addy, if he wants to be challenging for 2nd or 1st place in this race, that he does get ahead. But saying that, he is on the medium compounded tyres, we must remember. But still, he has to be getting past soon, as we've got some yellow flags in Sector 1, and that, I believe, is for Skell TBD in the 1st sector, as they're going side by side through 130R, Val and Addy. The Haas having to run wide, and Addy, it looks like he's decided not to go for a move there in the end. I was too busy looking at Skull's car on the mini-map there and barely forgot that there was action going on. But Addy with a nice little switchback out of the final corner, it's going to get past, but here comes Ayrton Spencer. He's absolutely flying down the main straight. Is he going to get past the Val? Yes, he is. He gets past the Alfa Romeo up in the P5. Ayrton Spencer and Addy, the big movers so far in this race, doing an absolutely phenomenal job. Ayrton Spencer up 9 positions from last, and Addy all the way up from 10th into 6th place, into 4th place already, I should say. But now his attentions are going to be turned towards Ragno. Is Addy, as I come through the 1st and 2nd Degner, such a difficult part of the track, really, to get it right, especially under high fuel. As Skull has retired from the session on the back straight, heading down towards 130R. That's a real shame there. And also Murcielago has left the session from 7th place, and that's absolutely massive, as Val here is making a run here on Ayrton Spencer, but not quite happening into Spoon Curve, as I believe we have Maverick getting past Testameister, but Maverick losing the rear end quite somewhat on the exit of Spoon Curve. And we have some yellow flags here, as we can see the car, the Skull just disappearing, but Maverick, I believe, had just got ahead of a Testameister, but then fallen back behind. But King No Skills somehow fallen back behind the as Murcielago has actually just rejoined, as King No Skills trying to go around the outside of him, and he gets it done through the final corner now. King No Skill moved himself up into 7th place there with a pretty solid move. But things are looking pretty tasty here, as Mavericks managed to close that gap back up to Testameister. We'll keep an eye on that battle, and if things start to get pretty close again, we will come back to it, as we have some yellow flags up ahead. It looks like Val has made a mistake, and yes, he has. Val has spun here in the 1st sector in the S's just before Dunlop Curve, and that's dropped him all the way back into 12th place. Val was having a very good race there. Oh, and also King No Skills off now. What on earth has happened there? Ayrton Spencer's off as well. We've just about missed that as we were looking at what Val was doing, but Ayrton Spencer and King No Skill all involved in instances there in the S's on lap 5, and that is very good news for those who a bit further back in the midfield, those of the likes of Maverick, Testameister, Murcielago, they're all now up in the 5th, 6th and 7th respectively. As Addy still trying to get past Ragnar here. It looks like as this race has gone on, Ragnar started to find his feet a little bit more in this race. He's not quite losing as much time to these lot ahead, but now it's Addy's time to attack Ragnar here down the main straight. He's got the DRS, he's going to try and make his move up the inside. He's just about going to get his car ahead into turn 1 and into turn 2. He gets the move done, and that's a crucial move in this race by Addy. And if Addy can really start to use those medium compound tyres to good use here, as the soft compound tyres will just be starting to wear out a little bit now. Oh, so I think Bolt's made a little bit of a tiny mistake there through the first sector. We did see Bolt set the fastest lap on the previous lap in this race, but of course he did pick up 3-second time penalties, so that is quite important. Making sure that you don't have penalties in this race. As Ayrton Spencer is now in the pit lane after losing his front wing in the first sector with some contact with King No Skill, as you can see, who's running with some damage on the right hand side of his front wing there. Maverick and Testameister still going at it here on lap 6. It seems like we've had a lot more action. I'm not quite sure what I was trying to say there. It seems like there's been a lot more laps than what there actually has been. I'm surprised we're only on lap 6 still. Still got quite a ways to go in this race. We're not even reached a third's distance so far in this race. But now, the Maverick in the Mercedes trying to get a move done here on Testameister. He's going to go up the inside the final chicane. He's going to get that move done very nicely indeed. And now Maverick up into 6th place, up past Testameister, where he'd got the move done at Spoon before previously. He made a mistake, but he's now back ahead of the Italian in the McLaren. And the McLaren there of Testameister runs wide at turn 1, and that's only going to further cement Maverick's place up there in P6. And if he can keep it on track, I would fancy him to start to close in on Murcielago. He seems to be struggling a little bit more. But I think something really interesting to point out here is ever since Bolt has made that mistake and he's dropped out of the DRS, he's fallen back from Chile. Bolt seemingly not having quite the pace, and Addy is now starting to close in on Bolt here. The gap has closed in to 3.5 seconds. But just running a little bit wide there on the exit of Spoon is Addy. Of course, that's not going to help at all. Of course, the gap between Addy and Chili Killer is around about 4.5 seconds. So he is bringing the gap down to the leader. Is Addy, and Addy, he's certainly in a good position in this race, being on these medium compound tyres. He can go onto those hard compound tyres and go longer into this race, but certainly he won't want to be doing that too much, as he loses the rear end quite a treat in the final sector. And now Addy, he's just got to slowly work his way up to the back of Bolt here. Of course, Bolt and Chiller Killer will have to pit before him, and Addy can go longer in on this race, but making slight mistakes like that in the first sector isn't exactly what he's going to be wanting to do, as he's now dropped Ragnar. Oh, speaking of Ragnar, Ragnar's actually made a mistake. Oh, and is he going to touch the wall? No, he's not, but Ragnar's made a mistake there in the first sector. Now that's going to cost him position to Murcielago, also to Maverick, and also to Testameister, and also to Danny Bin Lahar. Is it? Yes, it is indeed. So Ragnar's made quite a mistake there, and he's lost out quite a few positions to Murcielago, Maverick, and the two McLarens, and Ragnar seemingly not quite recovering well enough, and he's lucky enough to not pick up a corner cutting penalty there. Of course, he shouldn't get a corner cutting penalty, but you know usually how the game would work. By cutting the second deck and like that, you would get a corner cutting penalty, but the game using a bit of common sense this time, which is good to see. As Ragnar is now running in 8th place, as he's now got the Toro Rosso of Dougie Afferman closing up on him. And with Ragnar's tyres seemingly overheated and quite dirty, Dagi Afterman should be able to close in on here. And of course, Val, who also did make a mistake in the first sector not too long ago, is closing up on Dagi Afterman. Dagi Afterman potentially making a move here on Ragnar, but Ragnar runs deep here. And let's see. Well, seemingly Ragnar's just cut the corner a little bit there and just decided to go on his jolly way, as you do. And now Maverick starting to close up on Murcielago here for P4 in this race. Maverick showing quite a good race pace here at Suzuka, and he always has been quite a good driver at Suzuka as Maverick. Of course, Maverick and I go way back in this league, all the way back to 2015, I believe it was, where we first debuted against each other in this league. As you can see, Maverick is taking it very, very easy through the Dagners as Danny Bin Lahar picks up a 3-second time penalty here in this race. And it must say the midfield is relatively close to this race, unlike in previous races. So that 3-second time penalty could be very costly here, as Val has gone himself past Dagi Afterman at the hairpin. I'm sure he's launched a Kamui Kobayashi dive bomb there at the hairpin. As Dagi Afterman trying to make a move here on Val, but Val going to stay ahead for the time being, as now Val's going to look to close in on Ragnar for 8th place in this race, as Bolt has come into the pit lane. Our first pit stop of the race, of the leaders at least. And what tyre is Bolt going to go on? He's going to go on the medium compounded tyre. So Bolt, I'm not sure if that's going to get him to the end of the race, well, considering he's gone 10 laps on those tyres. But we will have to focus here on Murcielago and Maverick going side by side down the pit straight. Maverick's got his car ahead into turn 1. And indeed, he does stay ahead around the outside into turn 1. But Bolt, it looks like he's going to try and go to the end here on the medium compounded tyres. And considering he went 10 laps on the softs, he should be able to get 17 laps out of these medium compounded tyres. But now Bolt really just needs to put his head down, and he's going to be hoping that Testameister and Danny Bin Lahar get out of his way and do pit as soon as possible so they don't hold him up. As we've been informed by Ed in the chat that you can do a soft to medium one stop. Well, that's interesting to see. Perhaps Addy might even go for the medium to soft strategy, and then he might be absolutely flying towards Bolt and Chillakilla towards the end of this race, as Addy's actually lost a little bit of time to Chillakilla. He's 6.5 seconds behind Chillakilla. Here is Addy. Perhaps the soft compound tyres is the way to go here in this race. Yeah, Addy might be struggling a little bit here. Interesting to see what exactly happens here. But Maverick, after getting that move done on Murcielago into P3, well, what is theoretically actually a P4, he's pulling away from Murcielago, as now we have Danny Bin Lahar coming into the pit lane, and he's got a 5-second time penalty for speeding the pit lane. And it is very easy to do this pit lane at Suzuka, it must be said, as he goes onto the medium compounded tyres as well. But now we're really just going to kind of keep focused here on Bolt, as now Addy's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Oh, and Bolt just touching that curb, somehow managing to keep his car in a straight line, and out the gravel trap there. You cannot be affording to touch those inside curbs or outside curbs in the first sector really at all, which is quite ridiculous if you see how it's raced in real life. Bolt getting quite close here at the hairpin, as we've got some yellow flags in sector 1. I believe that's a Ferrari off in the gravel trap, and I believe that is Ragnar. Yes, indeed, it is Ragnar. Ragnar having some more troubles there in the first sector, and it's a real shame because he was having quite a good race, was Ragnar at one stage in this race, but just a couple of mistakes has crept in, and he's fallen back, as now we've got our leader of the race, Chillakilla, into the pit lane. And let's see if this undercut by Bolt is going to work. Is now coming through 130R. He's going to try and get a move done on Testameister. Testameister, quite frankly, just lets him through the chicane. But Bolt now, as he comes out of the final corner, is he going to come out anywhere near Chillakiller? Whereabouts is Chillakiller? He's just about coming out of the pit lane here, and you can see him there. He's going to remain in the lead of this race as Chillakiller, and quite comfortably indeed. But who knows if Bolt, if he can put in a good enough lap here, whilst Chillakiller's tyres are pretty cold, especially through this S's section. He could get within that 1 second DRS window and really look to capitalise here, but I don't believe that is going to happen. No, Bolt's seemingly struggling quite a bit, and Murcielago is lagging quite a bit, and that is not very good news for Chillakiller, that's for sure, and he's gone as well. It is quite noteworthy onto the medium compounded tyres, and pitting on lap 12 out of 27, he's done a very good solid stint on those soft compounded tyres, as Murcielago is now severely lagging, and this is going to be very frustrating for Chillakiller, as he's not going to know exactly where Murcielago's car is on circuit. It's now Chillakiller in the slipstream of Murcielago as they head down towards 130R, using absolutely no ERS. He's going to go around the outside of Murcielago. Is Chillakiller. That's a very fine move if you ask me. And now Chillakiller up into P3. Of course, the theoretical leader of this race once Maverick and Addy pit. And speaking of Maverick pitting, indeed he does. And now Maverick is going to come in and go onto the medium compounded tyres to the end of this race. As we also, I believe we had an Alfa Romeo there coming into the pit of Val from 8th place. Val is coming into the pit lane. Looks like it could have been a very good race for Val. He was all the way up into P3 in the early stages of this race, but mistakes cost him dearly, and he's now going to drop back into what will be P9 in this race, and seemingly very far off of the high-end points. There's Chillakiller now trying to look to extend that gap to Murcielago, as Murcielago is just about hanging within a second here of Chillakiller, which is a mighty fine effort if you ask me, because Chillakiller has shown some exceptional pace in this race. But Bolt now looks like he is starting to close in on Murcielago, as you would expect him to do. He's on the much fresher tyres, as you will see here. There you go, he's on 3 lap old medium compound tyres, whereas Murcielago is on 12 lap old medium compound of tyres. But it doesn't look like he'll be getting past Murcielago on this lap, but we might see Murcielago starting to come into the pits at the end of this lap, or perhaps maybe not even at the end of this lap, perhaps in a couple laps time, because of course he did start on these medium compound tyres, and he'll be looking to go onto the soft tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. There's Bolt coming through turn 1, these lovely camera shots so we get around here at Suzuka. It must be said, around most of the tracks, the offside or the track side cameras aren't the greatest, but here at Suzuka they really are fantastic, as Bolt has just ghosted through Murcielago's laggy car here through the first sector, and Murcielago going off into the gravel there, but it looks like he's managed to keep it on the track pretty well, and after that slight mistake, and Bolt now up into 3rd place. But must be said, even since Chillakiller has pitted, Addy is maintaining this around about 16.5 second gap here to Chillakiller, even though Chillakiller is on fresher tyres. So it's a really good stint here by Addy, and it's certainly setting him up to putting him in a good position here to go on those soft tyres at the end of the race and to charge towards Bolt and Chillakiller by the time we get into the closing stages of this race. As we'll go on board here with Addy through the first couple of corners. Everything looking very nice indeed, saving lots of ERS, making sure he's saving and preserving those rear tyres through the S's, of course, is so easy to get a load of wheel spin here through the S's. And of course, running the lowest ERS setting possible, make sure that that is the case, as we have Testameister here closing up to the back of Murcielago. But it's very hard to spectate a battle between anyone and Murcielago at the moment, as Murcielago really is lagging all over the place. Sorry for bumping my table there, if you did hear that indeed. It's Testameister being very cautious out through Dunlop Curve. It's now the head into the Dagnas. Such a brilliant part of the track is this Dagna part of the circuit. Underneath the bridge and then up towards the hairpin. Of course, in qualifying it's even better, where you can go a lot faster, nearly full throttle through the first S's if you have a perfect setup. But of course, in this league and all allowed custom setups, you must use one of the default ones. It has to be based off one of the default setups. Of course, one of the balance, increased top speed, increased downforce, maximum top speed, and maximum downforce. All of those setups indeed. But Bolt, he seems to maintain this gap to Chiller Killer here at about 2.5 seconds at the moment. But also, Addy really doing a fantastic job here on lap 16 out of 27 on 15 lap old medium compound tyres to keep this gap at about 16 seconds. And if I was Chiller Killer, I'd be really starting to push with everything I have on these medium compounded tyres here. We know how fast of a driver Addy has been in the second half of the season. Ever since the Belgium Grand Prix, he's really put in a fantastic job, as we have Testameister getting past Murcielago up into 4th place. And it's a very good job there by Testameister to be up in the 4th place. Of course, he hasn't pitted, and he will fall back behind a few drivers after he pits along with others. But good to see Testameister up in the 4th place. It's been quite some time since we've seen him up in such high positions. But yes, as I was mentioning, Chiller Killer is really going to have to start to put the hammer down now. Addy has been so fast in this second half of the season, and well, he's going to be a major threat to certainly Bolt and Chiller Killer in these closing stages of the race. As Scheckter has come into the pit lane. I wonder what tyres he's going to put on. He's going to put on some medium compounded tyres, and looks like he's going to go to the end of the race on those set, unless of course he does indeed make a mistake. As Ed was very well pointing out, that Addy will need to pass Bolt before Chiller, and yes indeed he will. But on soft compound tyres, I don't particularly see it being a big contest, as Bolt seemingly doesn't quite have the pace here. He's falling off Chiller Killer here, nearly 4 seconds off, and Addy is almost nearly in jumping Bolt territory here. He's put in such a fantastic stint here, as Murcielago is pitted, and he's going to go onto the soft compounded tyres. And here we go, the medium compound tyres runners starting their pit stops here, as Murcielago is going to come out in 8th place, quite a ways ahead of Val, and he should be able to work his way up towards 7th place, Danny Ibn Lahar here. As Maverick is closing in here on Doug Yaffman, who is of course yet to pit. And you can see how much more grip Maverick has here through the second Dagna compared to the Toro Rosso driver. And is he going to look for a Kamui Kobayashi dive bomb here? Doug Yaffman defends it. That is for sure. And there's Maverick looking to get a good X as to head out towards Spoon, as we have Addy now coming into the pit lane, and this is a crucial moment in this race. This is an absolute crucial moment in this race. How far, or will he come out ahead of Bolt? Because this is really close as he goes onto those soft compounded tyres. And now it's a crucial part in this race, as now Addy is trundling down the pit lane at 60 miles an hour. There is Chiller Killer going past, but where is Bolt? Oh, Addy is just going to come out behind Bolt. He's going to be a couple of seconds behind Bolt here. Yes, he's going to be about 2.5 seconds behind the Renault. And now Addy really needs to go to work here on lap 18 out of 27 if he really wants to win this race, as now Dougie Afferman is come into the pit lane here. And that promotes Danny in the half into 6th place. But Addy now, he's really going to have to go to work. Race is on for the win in this race. It's going to be absolutely crucial, this battle between Addy and Bolt, whether or not Addy can end up going on to win this race. Of course, Addy did start in 10th place. He did have a fantastic start. And he's already gained half a second on this lap alone here. As we've got some yellow flags, which is of course that yellow flag there, as I believe a Ferrari was letting through some traffic. And there we go. Yes, Ragno has retired from the session and a virtual safety car has come out. As Ragno, I believe, has crashed at 130R. We're going to go on board here with Maverick. And that is unfortunate timing for Addy, if I'm going to be completely and perfectly honest. If he had just waited one more lap, he would have come out in the lead of the Grand Prix. But of course we cannot foresee these things. But one man who's going to really benefit from this is Testameister, as he's going to have a near enough free pit stop here, and he's going to come out more than likely in 6th place. Now Danny Bin Lahar's also come in the pits, just about getting the car stopped there. And he's going to go onto the soft compounder tyres as well. And there we go, Testameister coming out in 5th place. That's absolutely massive for Testameister in this race. But here we go, we're back under green flag conditions. As the gap between Addy and Bolt is now at 1.5 seconds. Addy is really putting the grip that he has on these soft compounder tyres to good use in these early stages, which you really have to do here. So we're going to go on to this track side. Oh, and that's massive, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings for Chillikill, and I don't believe that Addy has any penalties. And here we go, Addy's already within a second of Bolt. It's been only a lap and he's already within a second of the Renault driver. Addy is absolutely flying in this race, and Bolt seemingly not even going to defend here into the chicane. But Addy just a little too far behind for the time being, but on those soft compounded tyres, and now in the slipstream and with the DRS, Addy is going to make a move here on this championship rifle. He's going to have to go the long way around into turn 1. Is he going to get the move done? Yes, he does. Around the outside of Bolt, and Addy is up into 2nd place in this race. And now his target is going to be Chillikiller, and who's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. This is going to be absolutely monumental towards the end of this race. And the good thing for Addy is he still has plenty of time here in this race to get the job done on Chillikiller. He can take his time. He'll be looking to extend his lead to a second over Bolt, and what a run he's got out of the second Degner there underneath the tunnel. And there you go, he's already got that second gap on Bolt, and now Bolt really has to just try and maintain a 3rd place here. Needs to not make any mistakes. Try and perhaps stay as close to Addy as possible, because who knows, things could happen if Addy does challenge Chillikiller. And there you go, both Addy and Chillikiller, as we're being informed in the chat, both have 3-second time penalties, so it's a level playing field at the moment in the penalties department, as my throat is absolutely killing me at the moment. But Chillikill actually sets the fastest lap of the race of 1:32.5, but that is smashed by 0.7 of a second there by Addy, who sets a 1:31.714. As Addy has some lap traffic ahead. I believe that's his teammate Schechter up ahead here. But Bolt just seemingly doesn't have the pace here today, and that's becoming more of a more of a feature in the second half of the race. Bolt seemingly not quite having the pace in these tracks in the second half of the season compared to those that he did in the first half. But Scheckter needs to get out of the way of his teammate here, and surely he will do so. Not really choosing to get out of the way. He's actually gotten in the way of his teammate quite a bit here, if I'm perfectly honest. I think he's cost him his teammate quite a bit of time here, but to his credit, Chillakilla is really limiting the amount of time that Addy is gaining at the moment. Chillakilla is driving out of his skin, putting everything he has into his performance at the moment to try and stay ahead of Chillakilla, and it's going to have to be a gargantuan effort by Chillakilla as he comes through 130R to get this victory here at Suzuka. But now, oh Jesus, as Scheckter nearly takes out his teammate there at the chicane. But now, Addy that has half the gap on that lap. 2.5 seconds, lap 22 out of 27. It really is on here at Suzuka for this race victory. And if Addy can secure this win, he really is going to put himself in a fantastic position in this championship. And I believe he might even put himself in the lead of the championship if he is able to secure this victory. But there's still plenty of things that could happen in this race, as there isn't really much action to talk about behind. The field is pretty separated behind. Lots of 2 and 3 second gaps. I perhaps see the next battle being Dougie Aframan and Val for P7. As Val is on the medium compound tyre and Dougie Aframan's on the soft compounded tyres. And also Testameister, who's now starting to close up towards Maverick for P4 in this race, who's really putting a fantastic drive as Testameister in the McLaren. Certainly his drive of the season so far. But the gap is down to 2 seconds now as we come down the back straight. Once again. And look how close Addy is getting to Chillakilla now. The gap is under 2 seconds. And he is larging Everloom now in the mirrors of Chillakilla. The gap is 1.5 seconds. Addy is looking absolutely unstoppable in the closing stages of this race. But can Chillakilla manage to defend? Can he manage to put up a good enough fight to just keep Addy behind for one lap? Wear out those tyres a little bit more, and perhaps he could give himself a fighting chance here, could Chillakilla. But there is plenty of time in this race for Addy to pick his move here. As Addy very aggressive on the curve there through Degner 1. As Ed is pretty excited in the chat, I assume he's done some calculations here, as we have some yellow flags in sector 2. Not entirely what for that, could be for a Renault, who is a little bit further up ahead. But this is the part where we really see Addy start to gain the most through Spoon, through the Exeter Spoon. Oh, and it looks like we do indeed have a Renault. It's had an off up further ahead, and we have a virtual safety car. Ayrton Spencer's retired from the session, and this is going to, and quite honestly, this is for the benefit of Chillakilla, if I'm quite frank with you. And there we go, Ayrton Spencer's lost there somehow. He's had an absolutely monumental crash through 130R. He's put himself into the barrier. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bolt come into the pits here. And yes, we are indeed. We're going to see Bolt come into the pit lane here. He's really struggling on these medium compounded tyres. And he's going to put in some soft compounded tyres. See if he can set that fastest lap of the race. Which, of course, if he does secure that fastest lap of the race, that could be a very crucial point indeed in this championship battle. Which is oh so close indeed. But we're just now waiting to get back under green flag conditions. And here we go. It looks like this virtual safety car has been absolutely massive for Addy. But Bolt has lost out positions to Testameister and Maverick. That's a massive blunder in my opinion by Bolt, he's going to have to go absolutely mental here. Oh, and Bolt's going to be absolutely kicking himself. He had a very easily secured P3, and he's gone and risked it to put on the soft compounded tyres. And now not only does he have to get past Testameister, he has to catch and overtake Maverick as well. He's given himself a lot of extra work here in the closing laps as Bolt. And here we go into the hairpin. Can he get the move done on the McLaren driver? Yes, he does, as there's a little bit of wheel banging. He gets the move done. But now we're going to go towards the battle for the lead. Here we go. Addy and Chilikia down towards the hairpin. Is Addy going to launch a move? No, he's not. He's going to pick and wait to make his move here. He's going to try and get a good launch out of this chicane. As I believe we have Schechter letting the cars through. Is Chilikia is now going to have to defend the inside line down here to turn one. Can Addy get the move done around the outside? Yes, he can. Addy into the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix here with 3 laps remaining. What a move around the outside. Kimi Räikkönen style by Addy. And that is an absolutely massive move in this championship here. Addy taking full advantage with a brilliant strategy in the end, which I don't think was quite intended, starting in P10. And he has managed to make his way all the way up to P1, but now he'll be looking to get rid of this 1 second gap, or it'd be looking to build a 1 second gap to Chilikia, and there you go. Immediately he does. We're not entirely. We're pretty sure they both only have 1 3-second time penalty. Oh, but I do believe that Maverick actually does have quite a bit more penalties than Bolt, so that could be that could potentially be a saving grace here for Bolt, who still doesn't look to be going that tremendously fast here on these soft compounded tyres compared to what he should be going at. This Testameister is actually sticking with him quite well. As Maverick's going to be trying to do everything he can to try and keep this gap as far as possible. As if someone is still in the lobby, can we check the penalty situation between Bolt and Maverick, as Addy is absolutely flown away from Chilikia here. The gap is 1.5 seconds. And Addy is absolutely flying away with this race here. An absolutely superb drive by Addy. And he is just absolutely coasting to the finish line on now what is our penultimate lap. But Testameister nearly had a go at Bolt, which we nearly missed here as we're going through the S's for the second to last time for these drivers here, and what has been an absolutely brilliant Japanese Grand Prix, and another crucial one in the championship battle. Every race is so crucial, but this one more than most, as our championship leader Ed missed out, and it looks like Addy has taken full advantage. But Bolt at the moment is only in P4, and he seems to be struggling at the moment, not even able to pull away from Testameister at the moment. And that is not what you want. So we've been informed that Maverick has a 5-second time penalty in the chat, and we know that Bolt does have at least a 3-second time penalty. So as things stand, Maverick would maintain P3 by about 0.2 of a second at the moment, but who knows? Bolt has to be careful of Testameister, who's absolutely flying towards 130R. He had to brake to make sure he didn't hit the back of him. He's going to try and go around the outside of the chicane here. Bolt defending the inside line. He manages to do so successfully. But Bolt is under major pressure in this race now. But he's had quite an incredible exit there out of the chicane. But Testameister with the DRS, he is gaining oh so much. As we're now on the final lap of this Grand Prix, Bolt running a little bit wide there through turn 2, but Testameister not able to do anything. But Testameister, what an incredible straight line speed he has in this McLaren, and if he can stay close enough as we head towards 130R at the end of this lap, he could perhaps get a move done on Bolt here, but he seems to be dropping back quite a bit here. He's dropped back to behind a second now And that's it. Oh, Bolt massively loose in the rear end and nearly going to the wall. Oh my goodness gracious me, that would have been some story there. I'm sure Bolt would have had his heart in his mouth there. Holy moly indeed. But now Addy, he's coming through this chicane now, and he's about to come through the final corner. A very clean exit indeed onto the final corner. It's going to be Addy who takes victory here in Japan. Chilla Killer finishes second. But now we're going to turn our attentions back now towards Testameister, who's gaining an absolute mile here on Bolt. Down into the chicane. Is he going to try and launch a move here? He's going to send it. He's going to stick his nose up. He bashes Bolt there across the chicane. But it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get past Bolt there. But that might just be enough to make sure that Maverick gets P3. Oh, and Bolt had some more penalties, and Bolt finishes in P5. As we go further back now, Danny Bin Lahar is trying to get past Val here. Oh, and Danny Bin Lahar trying to do absolutely everything he can there to get past Val. But wow, what an absolutely monumental mistake that was by Bolt in the end. He pitted underneath the virtual safety car and he threw away a very comfortable P3 in the end. And he's going to be absolutely fuming, and that is massive. Absolutely massive in this championship battle. An incredibly huge day as the Haas driver. I think that is 4 wins out of 5 races now since we've returned. He is on absolute fire at the moment. Well, well, well. Addy, of course, his debut season in this league, he really has shown up massive. He had a great start in Australia with the P2. He didn't perhaps have the pace, but well, well, well. He has shown the pace since he's come back, and what a drive that was by Addy. Thoroughly deserving the victory here in Japan, and he takes home, I believe, 26 points, and he is now the new championship leader. But that was also a great drive by Chilla Killer to finish in P2. He did absolutely everything right. Just Addy, at the end of the day, did a better job than him. He has to hold his head high there. He drove an absolutely incredible race and absolutely one of his best performances in this league. Maverick finishes in P3. A great drive by the Brit who started in P11. Also another great drive by Testameister in P12. He did a fantastic job. He did benefit from that virtual safety car quite a bit. But hey, some luck has to come your way. Bolt finishes all the way down in P5. And then we have Murcielago, Val. Sorry, I haven't gone through the thing properly. Murcielago in 6th, Val in 7th, Danny Bin Lahar in 8th. And then I believe that is Testameister. No, not Testameister. Danny Bin Lahar in 8th, Doug Afferman in 9th, King No Skill in 10th, Schechter in 11th, Ayrton Spencer in 12th, Ragnar in 13th, and Skull last of all in 14th place. But wow, what an absolutely incredible Japanese Grand Prix we've witnessed. Certainly a monumental race in the championship battle, as is every race at this stage in the championship. And now we crown a new championship leader for the first time in this season. It is Addy who's going to lead the championship as we head to the Russian Grand Prix now. And of course that will take place at 9 PM Central European time next Sunday evening, 8:30 GMT time, of course, 7:30 AM on a Monday morning in sunny Australia. But wow, an absolutely incredible race that was. And well, if the final races of this championship continue to go like this, I don't think I'm going to have a voice left after that, because boy oh boy, that was absolutely incredible. Oh yeah, we did do the Russian Grand Prix last week. What am I on about? What race is next? Oh, it's COTA, I believe. I believe it's the Texan Grand Prix, the American Grand Prix. But yeah, I don't know where my brain's gone. It's gone wandering. But yeah, well, incredible stuff. And then until that time next week, we'll see you later. I hope you have a very good night, evening, day, wherever you are in the world. Until next time, it's been me, Nibble331, and goodbye.